Hi, and welcome to Christina Marie TV here on SF Live. Tonight my guest is Carol Vernal. She is a nurse from California who helped create and founded the Chlidrens Medical Aid Foundation. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you very much, Christina.
Very good. So tell me a little bit about what the Chlidrens Medical Aid Foundation does.
We support the doctors in Nepal. I work with Chlidrens Medical Aid works with the model hospital, which is operated by FECT, which is a nonprofit in Nepal, and they have an outreach team that goes throughout Nepal taking care of children with congenital defects. It's a number of things. We actually sponsor children where they fall through the crack because that team is well financed and supported by Interplast and Smile Train, but there are children that come to them with multiple problems. And if there's a cleft lip problem, there's usually something else with that cleft lip, other deformities, and now they can take care of those. And it means that we do not have to turn any child away.
Okay, now I have a question. First of all, how did you get to Nepal? How does a nurse from California come to Nepal and decide to take this huge undertaking?
I was very lucky, very lucky. In 1989, I went to Nepal because I decided at this time in my life, I thought I was getting really old then.
Okay. You had no idea what you were ready to go in to embark on, yeah.
So I wanted to experience something outside of the Western world. So it was my first time. I got into Nepal and I was acting as a courier for SIVA, taking some eye equipment. SIVA does a lot of eye surgeries and support for patients with eye problems in Nepal. So I was acting as a courier. I got off my plane completely overwhelmed. And I got to my hotel sitting almost in a fog because it was so different, so unique, so incredible.
And you were there by yourself?
I'm there
solo.
by myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been traveling for 20 years now or more, always solo, always adventurous, and being long-term, and I love it. I love it. And Nepal was my jumping-off place for that.
Okay.
And I never forgot that, and that experience, that unique experience, and that shock, the culture shock and so on, stayed with me. I was just absolutely fascinated, and I chose Nepal because I wanted to climb Mount Everest.
That's everybody has a goal or a dream, and that's quite an undertaking. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, I went to the first base camp, and that was it for me. And, you know, with the whitewater rafting, the jungle, everything is in Nepal that I ever wanted to experience.
Okay.
And so, like, you know, maybe 15 years later, I'm still traveling, and I decide that I need to do something. I need to give back. I want a purpose for my traveling. And so I decided it had to be Nepal. I had returned several times, and I traveled all over the world, all many countries. And I found myself going back to Nepal. And that only happened one other place. It was this wonderful island in the South China Sea. So, but so, you know, that was my choice, and it took me a while to decide what and how. And I only wanted to volunteer. I worked with a Scottish group way up high in the Himalayas and the Tibetan Plateau, which those experiences are wonderful stories in themselves.
Okay.
But that got me started, and because of the Maoist rebels in that area, that activity was no longer happening, and it was medical units they were supplying or, you know, working with people in those isolated areas. So I did find my calling, and that was working with Dr. Rai and the outreach team. And I think it was 2003, I found myself working with them in the field, absolutely enthralled. I mean, I was so dedicated. I get so teary.
Yeah, no. It's something you don't expect to have in your life, and then it comes and you feel your calling, and it must be overwhelming. Yeah.
Well, it is, especially when I look at how far we've come.
Yeah.
You know, from that first falling in love with them, with the project, and the idea that I can help the children. It was wonderful.
That's amazing. And we're going to take a quick look. First of all, you brought along some pictures. The first one that we're taking a look at now is you in Nepal. Was this early on or a little later on?
I think that was my first trip. And that's actually Patan Square, which is in Kathmandu. And I love this picture because it shows the antiquity. And that's what you have in Nepal. You know, it's never been occupied by any other country. It's not been influenced by the Western world, so it's pure. So that's
very. And now we're going to be talking a little bit. First of all, we should be letting people know where Nepal is, in case you don't know. We have a second shot here, and this should. Can you describe a little bit about where it's located geographically?
Nepal. I've heard this said before, but I love the saying that it's the best part of the sandwich because it's the meat.
Okay, I've never heard that.
It's between India and China.
Okay,
it's the filling, the meat, and the best part of the sandwich. And you'll see Kathmandu is marked there with a big star.
That would be right here. Okay.
And those other areas are places where the outreach team goes, and they take the medicine to the people. It's decentralizing medicine and the surgical help that these people need. There are something like 14,000 people for each doctor.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Your foundation specializes in handicaps that are birth defects and disfigurements and things that can be seen. We have a picture here. If you could tell us a little bit about the picture.
This is called syndactyly. This is rather a severe case where the fingers aren't even really visible. They need to be separated. There's a lot of hand surgery involved, sometimes more than one surgery. And this kind of condition, because it's visible, it keeps them away from school. They're social outcasts. Sometimes the parents feel like they have done something wrong in their lives and it's past karma. Sometimes the children are even hidden, and they're not part of society at all. They don't play with children or anything.
So that's a very different thing than what we're used to, where someone gets some disfigurement and they're brought to the hospital and it's fixed, and there it's actually part of the culture that they're not they're kind of not exposed to the rest of the society. They're kind of hidden. So how do they feel when you come in and you give them a new life and a new belief in themselves when they are looking more like all the other children?
It can change lives. It can really change lives. But it's interesting because they do believe in these superstitions, and all they know is the shamans and the lamas and their belief system of the old ways, which are sometimes more harmful than good. So it takes our personnel, we call them the contact person, we'll say, goes to the villages. We hand out things that can be read without knowing how to read, because most people are illiterate. So it's pictures and it's addresses, and by the pictures they will find somebody to translate so they can help their child or find out more about it. They sometimes need some convincing because they don't want to expose their child. It's very hard for them to take this child, especially they have several children, they have responsibilities, working in the field, and a lot of other things that just daily life creates the need for them to survive by the very basic things: cooking, taking care of their animals, taking care of the children, where they're going to eat, where they're going to sleep, where they're going to drink. All these things are everyday issues. So they have to separate themselves from that to take this one child, to have that cared for. So that takes some convincing.
Now we have another picture here. We're just moving along to another picture. If you want to tell us a little bit about what this is.
This is Dr. Shankar Rai. Dr. Shankar Rai is a world-class, renowned surgeon. I cannot sing his praises loud enough. He's been given the American Medical Association Award as the most humanitarian doctor in the world.
Wow.
So that's like choose one person in the world. So he's been a recipient of that and many other awards. He's the leader. He's the reason why this program works. These people go through all kinds of hardships, and they sacrifice their own comfort to be there for the children. It's just, there's a lot on the website. It will tell you his story, and there's a small video.
Okay. And the website's right down there on the bottom of the screen, childrensmedaid.org.
Right.